Hello, hello, hello. How are you guys doing this evening? Well, I just woke up and it is 3:44 a.m. I woke up out of this crazy dream, and again, I went to bed with Alex at like 10 p.m. I was so tired tonight. I think this weather of like being cold and stuff, but also I just didn't feel great at all today. I felt sick all day long today. I almost kind of wonder if I didn't get like a 24-hour bug or something, because I'm starting to feel better now, but a couple of people that I'm friends with have been really sick, but like only for like a day or two. So I don't know. Because yesterday I had like this really horrible like migraine, and then today I just was like, my stomach hurt all morning and stuff. And I just kept on like pushing myself throughout the day. And so then tonight, Alex and I watched, like I got all this food from Trader Joe's. I did like this review and stuff. And then tonight, I was gonna have this like veggie hummus sandwich and the soup, and I made some of the soup, and I just was not hungry for any of it. I was like, I don't even want to eat any of this. But like I was hungry, but I didn't want to eat any of it, you know what I mean? And so we watched American Horror Story, because it was on like from last night, and he was like exhausted when he came home tonight, and so he was like, I'm just gonna, like when it was over, I was like, what are you gonna watch now? And he was like, I'm going to bed. And I was like, babe, it's like 9:45. He was like, I'm going to bed, I'm exhausted. And I said, okay, well, I'm gonna go upstairs and go to bed too. And I thought, like, usually, like, we get into bed with the dogs and stuff like that, and then, like, you know, he'll be on his phone for like a half an hour, sometimes, like, looking at Instagram, looking at, you know, stuff to buy. He shops forever. He, like, window shops on the internet, you know? And, so he's forever, you know, like, doing that, and then I'm in the bathroom, you know, like, washing my face and stuff like that. I don't really do, like, my whole nighttime routine that I used to do. I need to get back into doing that. I usually do that, like, when I come home and go to bed, like, after I'm done vlogging. So I just brush my teeth and wash my face, and then by the time I come back in there, you know, like, I get into bed and he's still, you know, on the phone and whatever, like, just kind of laying there looking at stuff, and then he shows me memes and whatever, and then I kind of like, and I fall asleep, right? But I came in tonight, and like, as soon as I got into bed, he plugged his phone in and turned it off, and then we were just kind of like laying in the dark talking a little bit, and I just totally fell asleep. And then I woke up and it was like 12:20, I think 12:23, I don't know how I remember the times that I wake up. But I looked at the clock across the room and I was like, oh, it's like 12:23. I was like, I need to get up and go vlog. And I was like, I'm just gonna sleep for 15 more minutes. I was so cozy. It is so cold. It's 39 degrees in Indianapolis right now. So I was like, whenever I say that and I look, it's because my temperature gauge is like right in front of me. I was like, I'm just gonna sleep for a little bit longer. And then I just woke up and I was like, which was weird because I was gonna vlog throughout the day today too, because I wanted to go to bed early today. And so yeah, but I didn't end up vlogging throughout the day. I just didn't feel great today. I felt like crap. My stomach hurt all day long. I woke up this morning literally with like, I don't know if this has ever happened to you. I woke up literally and my stomach was cramping. I was like, oh, like it hurt so bad. And so yeah, that was my day when I got up. What else did I do today? I feel like I did a lot, but I didn't too. Well, I was wanting to go run a bunch of errands today, and then, but I've been trying to, like, film some of my videos before I leave the house to get them up earlier, because I know with, like, the time difference, you know, for people all around the world, it's better if I get them up before, like, 5 to, I'm getting my videos up, like, later and later, and I don't like that. So, I started filming my videos at like, well, I just did like a Peterisms video and then a drama channel video, and I filmed those at like 4, and then got those up by like 5 something, and then I finally left, and I hadn't planned actually to do a review, and I went and got coffee, Here, I still have my coffee. I went and got my coffee. And I was talking on the phone, and I was stuck in traffic, and I was getting ready to go and pick up Pee-Pee's medicine. And I was like, oh, and I passed Trader Joe's, and I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna go into Trader Joe's, because my friend, Kate, she had done this, she's like a blogger, like a local blogger, and I love everything she does. She does so many things on like her Instagram story. She's constantly like showing stuff that she bought, like leggings and everything, and like hardly any of it is like sponsored. She just loves to do this stuff, and so it's so, she's so excited about it and so cool. She did like this Trader Joe's haul, but she did it like on her Instagram story, where she like went and showed like everything that she bought that was pumpkin spice, I think, at Trader Joe's. So I was gonna do something similar to that, but then when I got inside of Trader Joe's, it was like all this Halloween stuff. And so I was like, oh my God, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do all this Halloween stuff. They actually have a, the one thing I did not buy that they had was, because I didn't know if I would ever use it or make it on my channel, they have a Halloween gingerbread house. It's very cool. So yeah, so that was that. I went and bought all that stuff, and then I got some really cool stuff. And actually tonight, well, so I tried to eat some of that stuff and for dinner, and I just really wasn't hungry. I had a few of these cookies that I bought, which incidentally, then my stomach started feeling better, and they were like these yogurt cookies. So I don't know if like maybe that was like made me feel a little bit better or whatever, but I don't know. But I got these sugar cookies, and Alex like ate almost all these sugar cookies. It was so funny. He loves sugar cookies. So I got these like pumpkin and ghosty sugar cookies, and I just noticed when I was giving Pee-Pee his medicine that they're like all gone. But so yeah, what else though? Oh, so then after that, I talked to a friend of mine on the phone forever, for like an hour. She called, and I was like talking to her just about like, we were catching up about life, and I had fed the dogs and stuff, and then Alex got done. He got done late tonight, but he got done earlier than he thought he would get done, and so he was coming home. Like, he had all these meetings and stuff that went late, but it ended up not being like, he thought he was gonna get home super late, and it ended up not being as late as he thought it was gonna be. So he was on his way home, and he was like texting me. So I was like, well, I'm just gonna wait for Alex to get home before I run back out there, because I had to run to the Meijer. And so Alex came home, and I also didn't like want to put the dogs in their house and stuff like that. I just, if he was on his way home, then I wouldn't have to do that. So he got home, and then we hung out for a couple minutes, and I was like, what are you gonna do? And he was like, I'm just gonna go relax for 5 or 10 minutes. And I was like, okay, well, do you want to watch American Horror Story when I get back? And he was like, yeah, sure. So I said, do you want anything? He was like, no. He ate it like a late lunch. He's been eating Panera a lot lately for like a late lunch. So I went to the Meijer and just got some stuff that I needed for the house, but nothing exciting. I got Witness 2 at the Meijer. I actually put that on my Twitter. I was in the, people, I don't know why, somebody asked me, they were like, were you in your jammies? Which I thought was so funny, but anyway. And then several people seemed confused by what I said. Is that not like a term that people use other places, like witnessed to? Like, witness to about God? So anyway, is that like an old-timey term or something that a lot of people don't use? I was in the grocery store. I don't know the last time that this has happened to me. It used to happen a lot. Like, if you're my age, you'll remember it. It happened a lot back in the day. Somebody would come up to you, and they'd just be like really nice, and they'd be like, hi, how are you? Can I ask you a question? You'd be like, yeah, and you literally think they're gonna ask you, like, do you know what aisle, the pasta is on, or do you know where the milk is, or something like that? You think they're gonna ask you something like that, and they're like, can I ask you a question? And you're like, yeah, sure. And then they're like, do you believe in God? And they like just come out of nowhere, and they just like, and they're like, I'm from the church of so-and-so, and we would really like, when I'm out grocery shopping, I like to really, go up to my neighbors and ask them if they'd be interested in visiting our church. And it was this real nice guy, but I was like, I looked at him, I was like, no. I said, I'm not interested, but thank you so much. And he was like, are you sure you don't want to talk a little bit? I was like, no, don't let me stand here for a minute longer and make me think that this is a sign from God that I need to be witness to. That, you know what I mean? So anyway, I was like, no, I'm good. I go, I really appreciate it, though. He was like, okay. And then it was kind of weird, though, because, like, when I was leaving the parking lot, I was, like, going down the lane, and all of a sudden this car came out of nowhere. Like, it was trying to go the other way through the parking lot, you know? And I looked, and it was him. And I was like, oh, my God, this is so weird. But that was that. And then I got home. That's when we watched American Horror Story. And then we went to bed, and I fell asleep, and I slept so good. But I had this really, really weird dream. Like, really bizarre dream. Okay, my battery died. I thought that I had my fully charged battery in there, but I didn't. And, so I had to stop. And I don't even know how to get out of this little... I don't know if I have to turn around and go back, or if I can get out this way. But anyway, yeah, I can get out here. So yeah, so then I had this really weird dream, this bizarre dream. And we were like staying at this Disney hotel, but it was like, I think it was because we were talking to Melissa and Jason about where to stay in Disney, because they just got back from going to Disney World. They always go to Disney World for Halloween every year. They were telling us about the hotel they stayed at. But it was like the Stratosphere in Las Vegas, but it was Las Vegas, but it was a Disney hotel. And you could like, thing there. And you could like jump off the top of the hotel, like the Stratosphere, into like Lake Disney. And then I was like swimming for the shore, and I was like flopping in the water, and it was like from Jaws, and I thought I was being attacked, but it was actually like this Mickey Mouse. I was like, oh, you know what I bet that was from? Because we just watched American Horror Story. See, I believe that dreams are a mix of your like subconscious and like things that you saw throughout the day. And there was like a water scene in American Horror Story this week. So I'm so not impressed with that series this season. But anyway, so then we like swam for the shore, and then like we got back to our hotel room, and there was like, as we were like changing out of our bathing suits and stuff, this like girl walked in, and she's like, this is my room. And we're like, no, this is our room. And it was really weird, because it's like this girl that I know. Whenever I go to the gas station, she's always just like hanging out there. If I go to get a fountain pop, she's always just hanging out there, because she's like this DoorDash girl, or she works for DoorDash, and she hates it. And she's always in there complaining about DoorDash and how people don't tip her. And so I knew her, and I was like, and whenever I see her like in person, she always reminds me of this person that I know in my real life. And so I said something to her. I said, well, do you have a key? And she was like holding her key, and her key was like also a credit card, and it had her name on it. And the name on the credit card was the name of the person that I always think that she looks like. It was her first name, like that she always reminds me of. So like I called the front desk, and I was like, you know, there's two of us like that are booked for the same room. Like, what's going on? And she's like, oh yeah. She was like, Tina Mojo and Jake Paul need the whole hotel, so we had to double book all of the rooms, and you're just gonna have to deal with it. And I was like, oh, okay. And Alex was like, it's not that big of a deal. And this girl was like, yeah, we can just kind of hang out and talk all night long. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I like woke up. That was my dream. It was real weird. I have like really vivid dreams, but I also think it was because I was eating all of this like horrible food, and well, the food was good, but it wasn't settling my stomach. And I watched this like horribly violent show. I think American Horror Story is so violent this season. You know, I mean, I watch my own fair share of scary movies, but like American Horror Story, I think this season is bloodier than like the original Halloween movies. I'm not really sure if I like it or not. Like at first I did, and now it's going like in a really weird direction. It feels very much to me, and I say this as a writer, that they write an episode and they don't really know where they're going with the next episode. And then they like sit down at the table and they're like, okay, what should we do now? Like, it's growing organically. It doesn't seem like it has some overall like purpose to the story, if that makes sense. Oh my God, by the way, so I finished Now Entering Adamsville yesterday. Did I talk about this already on here? Or no, I wrote it on my Goodreads thing, what I said. Okay. If you read this book, if you get this book, do not flip to the last page. I'm telling you, okay? The last line changes literally the entire book. And I was like, I typically do not like books that do that. I was like, when I read it, I was like, okay, because I usually feel like it's a cheat. Like, the author in the very last line or the very last paragraph comes in and tells you something about the book that you never knew, and it changes, like, the whole premise of the book. But it was so fantastically done, number one. Number two, if you had read into the book and you paid attention to details, it was right there in front of you the whole time. And it was so fantastically done. And I just was like, this is unbelievable. It was so good. It was so well done. There's a book, I don't want to say this for anybody, but there was a book that several years ago, and it literally took this author from like nobody to like just bestseller status. This is what kind of pisses me off about it, in all honesty. And all of these famous people, these famous authors were like, oh, this book is so good, this book is so good, this book is so good. And I read the book and I thought it was crap. And I thought the ending was a total cheat. And so many people that I talked to were like, oh, I love that book. And I was like, why? And they're like, the ending was so ingenious. And I was like, it was a cheat. You had absolutely no clue that that was what was going on until the very end. And that guy just like threw his like gas cap down. Then he was like trying to reach down and get it. I just thought like it was such a cheat, and I just was not happy with it. I sometimes feel like, I don't know, sometimes like the book industry, like in the books that like they choose to market, like Barnes & Noble, I feel like they do this a lot. Like, they get paid to really push certain books. I know this to be true of Barnes & Noble, so I'm not talking out of my butt. Like, I really do know this to be true. That Barnes & Noble's, like, they get paid by, like, PR companies, you know, to push certain books. So then, when you go in, the books that are right there that you see are the books that everybody should read and things like that. And it's like, because there's a couple books that I just, like, had huge issues with. I think everybody knows. And these two books are not the book that I was just talking about. Oh, this is what makes me mad about it, is that then there's a book like Francesca Zappia, Now Entering Adamsville, which is so geniusly done. And I listened to the audio, but apparently the artwork is fantastic too, so you should check out the artwork. Francesca Zappia, I think, does all of her own artwork, because she did in Eliza and Her Monsters. But you know, she doesn't have, like, all these huge PR agencies working for her, so she doesn't, you know, get this kind of, like, accolades, right? And I don't know, it just is like, I thought it was such fantastic writing, it was such genius writing, it was so original that I was just super impressed with it. And it makes me kind of mad sometimes, you know? But one of the books that I really had an issue with was The Woman in Cabin 10 by Ruth Ware, and I read the book, and I know a lot of people have liked this book, and Ruth Ware is, like, at the top of her list with, like, mystery writing and stuff, but when I read that book and I talked about it on BookTube, like, I had a really pretty strong opinion on BookTube about that. And I felt like the end was not cohesive. I had the whole book figured out literally within probably the first 50, 100 pages. And I thought the character was unreliable. And not purposefully so. Like, sometimes you write an unreliable character, but I didn't feel like it was purposeful. I feel like she wrote an unreliable character because she didn't know how to make her reliable. And, like, one of the issues, like, this is just such a small issue, and I've talked about it on here before, and people always get a kick out of this when I say it, but, like, she borrowed this girl, like, this woman that she didn't even know well, she doesn't, but this woman borrows her mascara and uses it. Like, I think that's so weird. Like, no girlfriends of mine have ever, and I don't use mascara. Well, I mean, I use clear mascara sometimes, but, you know, like, my girlfriends wouldn't be sharing eye makeup with each other. Like, I've never known that to be a thing. And whenever I say that, most people are like, yeah, that's kind of true. Like, you wouldn't share your, like, you know what I mean? Like, anyway, maybe eyeliner or something like that. But this was so weird. And there were other, like, personal things that she shared, and, like, earrings that you put in your ear and things like that. It just was weird to me. The whole thing was weird to me. And then, there just was so inconsistencies. It just did not feel like it was researched well or put together well. And then, which, whatever, you know, that's fine. But for it to be, like, I would be less critical if it wasn't, like, this masterpiece that had been on the bestseller list forever. Mostly pushed by Barnes & Noble. That was where I had my issue with it. And then you would go into, like, Target and stuff, and it would be, like, right there front and center. It was, like, whatever major store you went, I mean, the book was so heavily pushed. And then my second issue that I had was with this book called This Is Where It Ends. And it was this book that had the most incredibly flat characters you've ever read in your entire life. Like, the characters were literally like school. It was like a YA book, and it was about a school shooting, and it was like literally like a high school jock, and then like female high school jock that's like a runner, and, you know, like high school nerd. It was like, it had such flat characters that had absolutely there was no character development to these characters whatsoever. And I just remember like this one girl that was the runner. I think her name was Cassie. I don't know how I remember that. But anyway, I read that book so quick, and it was about the school shooting, and they're in this auditorium, and I don't know. There's just, for me, the book was really about, like, it ticked down the minutes of what happened, but there was, like, no, like, learning curve to it. There was, I don't know, it felt like a very dangerous book to me, if I was in high school and I was reading that, you know, depending on I mean, it almost kind of like, there were parts of it that were from the point of view of the shooter, not at times. I had real issues with that book, when there are so many fantastic YA books out there that could be pushed. And I think that that's an important topic to be talking about. But there are ways to do it, and there are ways to not do it. I had real issues with that book. I'm trying to think of what else. I also have an issue with YA, or not YA, I also have an issue with ghostwriters who write fictional books. Which is a thing. Like, if I would hire a ghostwriter to write a fictional book called, I don't know, you know, People of the Woods or something, and I would put Peter Monn on there, but I never even actually wrote anything to do with the book whatsoever. I may have sat in one meeting and been like, here's my idea. Okay, there's people that live in the woods. You know what I mean? They're like, oh, well, how much further can you go with that? I don't really know. Just people that, I like that idea of people that live in the woods, and then we can come up with, you know, merch to go with it and all this kind of stuff. Oh, we can also do a pre-sale before I've even written the book. It just, to me, is like, okay, come on. You're not talking about, like, a hoodie. You're talking about an actual work of art that some people work, you know, years and years and years on. And what's really kind of sad sometimes is, like, there's AuthorTube, too. So when we talk about BookTube, there's also AuthorTube. If you guys are interested, you can type it into YouTube, put AuthorTube. And it's authors that are actually showing you their writing process. I think sometimes my advice, having dealt with, you know, publishers and literary agents, is you got to be careful of that, because a lot of publishers and literary agents don't want any work that's already been exposed out there into the public eye. So you have to be real careful of that. And so if they're on a YouTube video and they're actually reading bits of their book as they go, it can be dangerous for them. I mean, as far as not being able to be published later, you know? And, but it's real interesting. I actually have a BookTube friend of mine that has a AuthorTube. His name is Cam, and he's at Wolf Shop Publishing. Wolf Shop Publishing is the name of his AuthorTube channel. He does BookTube too. He's a real sweet guy. He's really nice. We did like a a buddy reads together. I can't remember what we read. I haven't done a buddy reads with somebody in a long time. I used to do that back in the day all the time. Mel and I should do one, but I don't. Well, we do the book club every month. But anyway, I finished Now Entering Adamsville last night, and it was so good. It was so good. It was a perfect Halloween read, even though it didn't take place in Halloween. It took place in October, but it was just fantastic. And then today, I started The Chain by Adrienne. I was just listening to it before I was going to vlog. Well, I listened to it for like 5 minutes. Adrienne McKenty, I think it's who it's by. And oh my God, it literally, like, just right out of the gate, gets so suspenseful. It's like watching a suspense thriller or something. And it is about this little girl. She gets kidnapped right away, and then her mom gets called, and she like, they tell her that she has to kidnap somebody else, and if she doesn't, then her daughter will be killed, and they're part of this chain, and then she also has to give so much money for a ransom, and that she's part of this chain, and if she does what she's told, and she redoes what this other mother is telling her to do, then her daughter will be released. But it's all done in real time, so when you're reading it, it's like 8:36 a.m. Thursday, 8:45 a.m. Thursday. And so it's like all done in real time, which I love when books do that. Michael Crichton used to do that. And so when you're reading it, you're pacing along with the story and the author and the characters, so you feel like you're there with it. If you know, people ask me a lot, I really want to read, like, I want to start, I just got a message about this the other day. Somebody said, I want to start reading more, but I don't know what to read. I think it's a really good question, you know, but the thing is that what I might love, somebody else might not love. You know, like, I was talking to Jacob, Josh's boyfriend, today when I was going through Starbucks, and he's reading Ready Player One by Ernest Cline, which is one of my favorite books I've read in the last 5 years. It's one of my favorite books I've read since I've been on BookTube. I think the movie is so, it does not do it justice whatsoever. And I think, I was going to say it was subpar, but the movie's good. Had I seen it by itself, it just isn't what the book is. And the book is just so fantastically done. So fantastically done. The pop culture references are just absolutely constant, like this and there. I mean, just constant. And especially if you grew up, and during my era of growing up, it's very Stranger Things. So the pop cultural references are just nonstop. And I went into it, so it's about, you live in this world where people log in and they basically are an avatar in a real, like, in a, what do you call it, in a cyber world. And that's where we've gotten to the point. But there's still, like, Pennsylvania and Indiana and the UK and things like that, right? So it's about this kid, and he lives in the stacks, and these stacks are like trailers on top of trailers on top of trailers, and he's like real poor and stuff. And so he goes and he logs in every day, and then they're supposed to like go to school, and they're supposed to do this. But anyway, the book is so fast-paced and so well done. I would recommend listening to the audio, though. The audio was really, really good for that. The audio for Now Entering Adamsville is good too, but you miss out on like all of the, what do you call it? There's like maps in there and like character sketches and all kinds of stuff. So, yeah, but I was talking to Jacob about Ready Player One today because he was really liking it. I love when you get into a book and you can't put it down. And when I was texting Josh, and he was like, oh, I'm reading it, so don't worry about it, blah, 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 whatever. So Monday, I'm going to go to my personal trainer, and then right after that, I'm going to go and grab him, and then we're going to do the video, and I'm excited about it. But anyway, now I'm really into this thriller called The Chain. I'm like almost like an hour into it already. I love when I read a book and I get right into it right away, and I just like, you know, can't get out of it. And that Pumpkinheads book that I'm reading at home is really good too. I wanted to start that, what do you call it? Damn it, Janet. Hocus Pocus. I'll probably start it now and then just not finish it. But then I have like 2 weeks till Christmas. I have 2 weeks till Halloween that I can still read it, so. I'm thirsty, but I'm totally not thirsty for a Diet Coke, and I don't want to just go through McDonald's and get a water. I still have not figured out what I'm going to be for Halloween. Today I was like, maybe I'll just go as like an axe murderer or something. Wouldn't that be kind of fun? And then, wouldn't that be kind of fun to go as an axe murderer? And then do like a bloody face or something like that. I don't know what I want to be. I need some suggestions. I'm looking at the cigar store over here. I've never understood the point of cigars. Like, I've never been that person that's like enjoyed a cigar. You know what I mean? My dad, he likes really, really good cigars. And this is so weird. Because, you know, of course, A, he's a doctor. B, he's like so anti-smoking. But this started like 10 years ago for my dad. And he'll only smoke like a little bit of a cigar, like maybe once a month, right? Like if he's out like sitting by the pool with the dogs or something like that. But he likes like really, really good cigars. And I just have never really understood the whole idea of a cigar. We have some cigar bars here in Indianapolis. I think cigars smell really good. Now, back in the day, okay, when Peter was a feistier dude, back when he was younger, Peter used to smoke Black and Milds and inhale them sometimes, and I still do. Whenever I smell a Black and Mild, I'm like, oh my god, I love the smell of a Black and Mild. But I did used to smoke Black and Milds back in the day. I smell them at the casino sometimes. That was when I was going, I don't know why, but like when I went to drag pageants a lot, I would take like a pack of like 4 Black and Milds. I would smoke 4 Black and Milds, and not filled with anything, nothing like that. But I would take it like into the bar with me, and I would smoke that throughout the night. It's so weird to think of a time that you could like, you know, smoke cigarettes like inside places like that and stuff, you know? Like an actual cigar, like in a bar. I think it's so weird. I have not driven through Zionsville in forever. I was thinking about this today because I wanted to see like the Halloween sites of Zionsville, because it's like this little, if you guys watch my vlog for a while, you'll know it's like this little small town, and they have the cobblestone streets and the brick streets and stuff like that. And I used to like go through here and I would vlog, and then I would show all the Halloween decorations, right? Well, they've had this detour and you can't get through here, and I don't know any other way to get into Zionsville unless you go this way. So we should go down here and see if we can get through yet. I mean, it's been months since I've come down through here, so I would think that at some point it would have to be like, I have friends of mine that live in Zionsville. I should just ask them. Do any of you have a new iPhone? Is it worth it? We do that plan where you like pay for your phone over like a certain amount of time. Do you know what I'm talking about? And I noticed this month when I did the bills that like our price of our phone bill had like jumped way down. And so then I went and I looked over the last couple months, and like the last 3 months our phone bill had been like a lot cheaper. And I was like, oh, I wonder, I think this detour is still up here. How can they still have this? You can't get through here. That is so crazy to me. How are you supposed to get into Zionsville? But I think like we're up for an upgrade, or we could go in there and get the new phones, which I'm not all about having to have a new phone or whatever. It seems like we just got these phones like a year ago. Maybe it was 2 years ago. God, time goes fast, doesn't it? But, was it at the end? I didn't realize I had gone 23 minutes. But, that seems crazy to me that I had talked for 23 minutes already. But anyway, 23 and a half minutes. But, 23 and a half minutes. But, I don't know. 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 I don't know I'm not the person that has to have the new phone all the time, but I know that Alex is interested in that, and he probably would enjoy getting the new phone, but I just don't know if, like, if the new phone is worth it. I heard the camera is pretty incredible. Alex would love that. I don't really care about all of that. This is totally closed off. This is such BS. Road closed to through traffic. Well, how are you supposed to get through there then? I don't know where this road takes you. Take me home, country roads, to a place I belong, West Virginia. This is that plant that smells like, it stinks, is what it smells like. I don't know what it smells like. But I'm like in this behind road now, and I don't know what I'm supposed to do, but I guess I'm not going in Designsville to see all the pretty decorations. The thing with Halloween decorations is that people usually, like when they go to bed at night, they like turn them all off. But with Christmas decorations, people leave them on all night long sometimes, you know? Can you even believe that we are almost to the time of Christmas decorations? It seems crazy to me. I have literally no idea where I'm at. I've never taken this road before. I may have to turn around and go back. The dogs are so cute, you know, like I get them up and I take them outside and then we get back into bed for a little bit, so we go back to bed for a little bit longer. And they are, I don't know if it's because they're getting older or because it's cold outside. It's 35 degrees outside right now. We're snow weather, you guys. It's kind of scary. It is snow. Well, we've had Halloweens where it's snowed before. But anyway, oh, I guess Caroline now is wanting to have Thanksgiving at home, not this restaurant that she booked. David was like texting Alex today, talking to him about it, apparently. I'm always left out of all of that, those conversations. I don't know why. Because people just know, like, oh, Peter goes along with whatever. And I do. I'm just like, just tell me where I need to be. But I do think for Thanksgiving this year, I'm going to make vegetarian stuffing and take it. I'm going to take some vegetarian deals that people can try. I think I am going to really try to cook you guys for Thanksgiving this year. If we do it at Caroline's house, if we don't go somewhere else, like out to dinner, then I will, I was just like sitting here and I was like, my leg was so cold and I was kind of like patting my leg and I was like, my leg is so smooth. You should lotion every day. Just a little FYI. But anyway, if we go to Caroline's, I think that I will take some, like, because we always go to Alex's family's later, so I'll take some, I want to make some vegetarian stuff to take over there, which I think they could probably just get, like, at Trader Joe's. Okay, so I went to Trader Joe's today for this haul, and I have to tell you guys, I was super surprised at how cheap Trader Joe's was. Like, it was really cheap. Sometimes when cars like creep up on me, like I can tell that they're like trying to figure out what I'm doing. They're like, why is that dude talking so much? But anyway, did I ever finish what I was going to say about Hocus Pocus? I was just like, I have my plan in my head. So if I start it now, I can finish it by Halloween. So anyway, because I really want to read that book and finish it this year, because I've said I was going to finish it for the last 2 years. I've also said that I was going to read Raven Boys for the last 2 months, or the last 2 years. So I think that when I finish The Chain, I'm going to read the Raven Boys. I'm going to get the audio for it. And I heard the audio was good. And then I'm going to listen to the book for the book club this month. I still have a couple weeks. Oh, I didn't know there was a Cracker Barrel over here. Cracker Barrel, where you can eat and shop. What was I saying before all that? There's a bunch of trash all over the road. I think it's so gross when people just take trash bags and just throw them out their window. I think it's gross when anybody throws trash out the window, whether it's just a can or a cup or whatever. Have you ever gone down, like I've literally, when you're going down the street and somebody takes like a bag of fast food and just chucks it out the window, and I'm like, what the hell? Did you seriously just chuck out a bag of fast food out the window? Like, you're done with it? I'm like, oh my God, people crack me up. Why would you do that when it's like you can take it to a trash can? I mean, and I don't ever do that. I always just like empty out everything in my car. I don't think it looked like a hotel. Home to Suite by Hilton. I never even heard of it. I forgot what I was talking about. Panda Express. One of my friends was telling me, she goes, I don't like Chinese food. The only thing I like is orange chicken. And I said, have you ever had orange chicken from Panda Express? And she said, no, is it good? And I was like, yeah, it's like the only thing that is good at Panda Express. But I used to go to Panda Express all the time. I can't believe I said that when I wasn't a vegetarian. Does anybody know if Panda Express has vegetarian? Oh, that's what I was talking about, Carolina and Thanksgiving. Does anybody know if Panda Express has vegetarian options? I haven't been there in forever. But, their orange chicken is so good. And now I'm sitting here talking about it, I'm thinking about it. Their egg rolls are really, really good. I think Panda Express is pretty good overall. I remember their Cokes being really good too. I don't know why I remember that. Did you ever just go to a fast food place sometime? Look at that. Look at that hairdo right there. On the wings of love. You know what I just thought of? I kind of want a Coke. Like a Coke, not a Diet Coke. Maybe that's what I'll do. This is like a crisp dollar bill. Maybe I'll do a Coke and a water. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. I wonder if she'll give me like a cup of ice water. Put my coffee down here. When I went to Trader Joe's today, I've had like 4 distorted thoughts that have just like gone all over the place. I was really surprised. Now, I used to go to Trader Joe's all the time. I was really surprised at how reasonably priced they were. Like, and people in my comment sections of my video, because I did this haul, were like, yeah, Trader Joe's, like, people think it's really expensive, but it's not. And I always just kind of compared it to Whole Foods. I thought they were kind of the same, similar expense, you know? And I could get some fries, I guess. But I don't really want fries. And fries are supposedly... Somebody said fries are not vegetarian at McDonald's, and somebody told me that they were vegetarian at McDonald's.
Hi, thanks for McDonald's, help you?
Yeah, can I get a large Coke?
Large Coke, anything else for you?
And then can I also get just like a ice water? Like a cup of ice and water?
Anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you.
Alright, you're welcome. 109.
That was sweet. She didn't charge me for the, She didn't charge me for the... For the water. Sorry, I was looking for change. There you go. Thank you so much.
No
They are firing up the coffee in there. She's cleaning down the counter. Yeah, so I was really impressed. Trader Joe's had a lot of really fun stuff too, but one of the things that I forgot they had, oh, I just remember what it was called. I forgot when I was doing my video early, was that they have this wrap sandwich, and it's called like the turkey gobble sandwich. And they have like all these wrap sandwiches in the back. I got a veggie hummus wrap, but they have one called the turkey gobble sandwich or whatever, and I used to get it. I mean, they've had it forever, because I used to get it when they worked in treatment, and it has like turkey, but like turkey that you like eat on Thanksgiving, you know? Thank you. Thank you. Can I get one more straw? Yeah. Thank you. But it has like the turkey that you know you have on like Thanksgiving, and then it has cranberry sauce and stuffing in it. And it is so good, and it's wrapped in a sandwich. People tell me, or people ask me all the time, like, what's something that you miss from being a vegetarian? That is something that I miss. Because I used to have it back in the day, like today, and it has, oh, and cream cheese in it too. True story, like that I would have gotten today, like if I wasn't a vegetarian. It sounds so good. But I'll tell you what even sounds good is take out the turkey and just put the cranberry, I'm gonna go down here and turn around. Just take the turkey out and put cranberry sauce, stuffing, cream cheese in a sandwich, and maybe with some apple slices even. They used to have, doesn't that sound good? They used to have this sandwich there that was brie and apple slices and cream cheese, and it was a wrap together. Oh my God, it was so good. Oh, that water is delish. Delish. So then maybe I'll make some things from Trader Joe's for Thanksgiving, because I think you can just go in there and they have like the vegetarian stuffing, vegetarian this, and it's just like you prepackaged, you make it. Or I think they also maybe kind of have some in the deli or something. Is this guy gonna stop? So I think that I'm gonna do some of that for Thanksgiving. I don't know. We'll see. Okay, I just remember that song. On the wings of love, only the two of us together all. You guys, you have no idea how I grew up, okay? Sitting in the back seat with my one friend that I had that we played tennis together. And she and I would have our tennis rackets, and we would sing. My mom would drive around, listen to the radio, and we would sing at the top of our lungs with, we would go through McDonald's, true story. I should have known my mother had a sweet tooth back then, because we would go through, after we had tennis practice, my mom would take us through when it was like her night to drive, and we would get like cheeseburgers and like fries and a Coke. And my mom would always get an ice cream sundae. Always an ice cream sundae. She used to get them later when I was in high school too, to watch Oprah. I'd be like, Mom, you get those ice cream sundaes every day. She'd be like, well, they're nice enough because they give me like a $1 coupon so I can go through there and get them for free. She like knew people that work there, and she'd be like real friendly with them, and then they give her all these free coupons. But anyway, so we would sit in the back seat, my mom's Nissan Maxima, this silver Nissan Maxima, and we'd be like, on the wings of love, only the two of us together. That song, and then what were some of the other songs? The Morning Train. My baby takes the morning train. He works from 9 to 5, and then Karma, 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 Chameleon. I was so obsessed with Boy George. Okay, and then who else? I loved Culture Club so much. Physical, I wanna get physical, by Olivia Newton-John. Oh my God, do you know what's so funny? So we were watching American Horror Story tonight. This is how this is like all missed from the younger generation, right? So, you know, like American Horror Story this year is all supposed to be done like after a horror movie. And there's all of these like horror movie like analogies, but like they're in, Ryan Murphy does them in such genius ways that they're kind of subtly missed. And so one of them was, it all takes place around these people that work out at this aerobic studio, okay? Well, the aerobic studio in Los Angeles is called the Perfect 10. Does anybody know what the Perfect 10 is? Hello? Na, 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 na. So the Perfect 10 was the name of the movie, and I do believe it was also the name of the studio in the movie that Jamie Lee Curtis worked at, okay, it was a famous movie. It got really famous in the 80s because she was like this aerobics instructor in it, right? And it was like her big movie out of Halloween. And what is so funny about that is that they put that in there, right? And people, I just think it's funny that people don't connect all of these different things together. I'm sitting there watching, I said to Alex, and I was like, oh my God, it's so funny, The Perfect 10. He's like, yeah, what about it? And he was like, it's just the name of an aerobic studio. And I was like, kids. And then I started to explain it to him, and I could tell that he couldn't care, so, or that he could care less. I was like, I just won't even waste my time. On the wings of love. What's the song from, or is that the song? I think it is, from Officer and a Gentleman. God, when movies were movies. Diane Keaton, I do love her, but Deborah Winger. I think Terms of Endearment will still, it's still to this day one of my all-time favorite movies. I know she's like on that show, like that Schitt's Creek or whatever it's called. I don't know that show, but everybody tells me to watch it. Is she on that show? She's on some show with Demi Moore's ex, Ashton Kutcher. I don't know how to pronounce any of these people and their names. My God, Ashton Kutcher and Demi Moore. Is it Demi or is it Demi? I always called her Demi. But anyway, I don't think it really matters. She probably answered both, don't you think? She has a new book out. It's this supposed tell-all about her life. I've always loved her. I've loved her since the very first time I ever saw her in St. Elmo's Fire. I thought she was just the answer as Jules. I think that pop culture had a lot to do with who I became in my early 20s. So, like, I mean, I really did kind of, like, idolize that whole idea of who Jules was and stuff like that. That movie was great, St. Elmo's Fire. Just once in his life, a man has his time. But my time is now. I was just listening to that the other day. I truly do have all these songs in my iTunes. I know it's probably really hard for you to believe, but I do. People are like, what do you listen to? Like, what are you really into now? And I'm like, the 1975 and the National. My brother-in-law always gets me into, like, all this music. I have this friend of mine, a sober friend, and he is probably my biggest influence for listening to really great music, like the 1975 and the National and We're the Wolves and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and which is all like this really great music that I love. But I equally love all of this really like bad. Well, it's not bad, but like that theme song to St. Elmo's Fire and all this kind of stuff. I get so, you know what's so weird is that I'm starting to hear, like, it's crazy to me. I'm starting to hear in, like, the most random places, like the grocery store. Okay, seriously. Like a Cure song, followed by, like, a Smith song, followed by, like just, what's another band, like, you know, I don't know, OMD, Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark, back in the day, you know, that we would listen to or something. And I'm like, back when I was in high school, you know, like Girlfriend in a Coma by the Smiths, which was probably one of their most popular songs, was still obscure to most people. Or like, oh, Violent Femmes too, you know? And it's like now, it's like, that's like mainstream. It's so weird to me that like I've gotten to the point where like the music that I thought was different and edgy in high school is now mainstream. Isn't that crazy? It's so crazy. You're crazy. I'm crazy. We're all crazy. Where am I at on a time? I don't want it to just like stop. I don't want it to stop. Just stop. Totally. I've watched Halloween 1, but I need to watch it again because I watched it and I was going and doing some other stuff. And then Halloween 5, Halloween 4, I love this lip balm so much. This caffeinated coffee lip balm. I mean, it straight up smells like a cup of coffee. But like in a really positive, like it smells like You know when you grind coffee beans? That's what it smells like. What else? I don't even know what I was talking about. I literally just lost my mind. My husband said something to me tonight. This kind of scared me. He's like, I'm telling you things and you're not like remembering it. What were we even talking about? Oh, we were talking about the Halloween parties this weekend. Because he's got like work stuff to do all Saturday. Well, my sponsors party starts at 6. And then our friend Aaron's party starts at 6. So I was going to go to my sponsors party at like 5. And get there early and help her and stuff. And Alex was like, you know, I have meetings all day long, and then I have this, he's doing like this fair thing, and like he's helping like man this booth kind of stuff. And so he was like, you know, I said I don't get done until 6. I have to do that until 6. And I go, you never told me that. And he goes, yeah, we had a conversation about it, don't you remember? And I go, I honest to God, Alex, I said, I do not remember. Now, if you are in a marriage like mine, which all of my friends laugh when I say this because this is kind of marriage in general, but like, you'll be having a conversation when you're in the kitchen, you're like, so what do you want for dinner? Olive Garden. Oh, by the way, on Saturday, you sure you don't want Cheesecake Factory? No, I'd really like to have Basbo's Pizza. And by the way, on Saturday, I'm not going to get done until 6. Okay, but do you want to go to Basbo's? And it's like, then you've had the conversation, right? When you haven't really had the conversation. So I don't know if it's that kind of conversation. But he was like adamant. He was like, I'm starting to get worried about you. He's like, I'm telling you things and you're like literally forgetting them. And I was like, and I don't know, like lately I have been forgetting stuff a lot. Like not a lot of stuff, but like just stupid stuff. Like what I'm talking about, like in the middle of my like thinking, and I don't know. Alex and I had like a really serious conversation. Oh, this is here. We were going to have a nice night on the vlog, and now Peter's going to take it to a serious moment. But Alex and I were having like a serious conversation earlier tonight about, you know, just about like finances and, because, you know, we have like things set in place and for like when I get older and when he gets older and whatever, you know, And I was like, well, I mean, my goal is I don't want you to have anything to worry about. Like, I want you to have, you know, a place here and a place in Florida, and you can go back and forth, and you can have retirement, and, you know, like, all that kind of stuff by the time that, you know. But for me, it's weird because, you know, when Alex is 65, 70, I'm 12 years older. I'll be 82. I don't think I'm going to make it to 82. You know? And it's kind of sad, like, I don't have a problem getting older, and I don't have a problem with the wrinkles, and I don't have a problem with the white hair and all that kind of stuff. But when you realize that your time is limited here, it starts getting kind of scary. I stopped, I was at the end. See, that's why I hate talking about something when it's at the end. But like, I was talking to Tanya about this the other night, and I was like, I said, Tanya, you're like 10 years away from like where my mom was when she passed away. And I said, we don't have tons of time left, you know? Like my dad is, you know, like in those conversations, I have to be very like rigid in business with Alex because, I mean, of the two of us, I'm definitely more the financial thinker. And so, like, I'm like, okay, these are the things that we need to set up because I don't want you to have to worry about things. And, you know, the other reality is Alex will have our nephews and stuff like that to take care of him. But, you know, Liliana's my age. You know what I mean? It's not like, I mean, he'll still be surrounded by his family, hopefully, and stuff like that. But, like, I mean, God knows, you know, in 40 years where the situation will be for Alex. So it's like, we've got to make sure that we take care of all that stuff because I sure as shit won't be around to take care of him. You know? Like, that's the hardest thing about the age difference sometimes is when you realize, like every music festival that I go to, like every year that I go to Ultra with him, like I think to myself, like there's gonna be a year that I can't come anymore, you know, or that I don't want to come anymore because I'm like too old and I'm just like, I just can't keep up. And I mean, fuck, I'm already 47, you know, like. What is going on over here? There's all this smoke. It looks like fog, but it's not, it's smoke. It's like a fire or something. Oh my God, where is that coming from? So anyway, Alex and I have to have very serious conversations about that stuff sometimes, and I hate doing that. But we have to, you know? It's like even like making decisions about like, you guys, if you have kids and stuff like that, you really need to make some decisions and let people know. Get your wills in place and things like that, because you know, like even with our dogs, like, you know, people are always like, well, if something happened to you and you're out, I'm like, I've already thought it through. I already know how I want the dogs to be. I've already talked to Tanya about it. I would want all three of the dogs to be kennel dogs. They could stay in her office. She already agreed to it. They would just live there and they'd have a good life, you know, and she'd take them home sometimes, and she knows them better than anybody, you know. I wouldn't want their life like uprooted. I don't know why I'm turning this way. You don't have any idea. I never go this way. I'm just not even thinking. Turn around over here. I'm real hungry. I used to go to a meeting at this funeral home. I don't even think they have meetings there anymore. But I used to go there on Wednesday nights when I first got sober. Whenever I tell the stories about, like when I first got sober and like people handing me, you know, like pieces of paper with their names and their numbers on it, that's the meeting I always think of. And I remember there was this guy that came up to me, and he ended up becoming like a really, really good friend of mine. And I went to that meeting, and I was so scared. That might have been one of my very first meetings out of treatment. And this guy after the meeting came up, and he was like 6'2", 6'3", and I remember he had long hair, and he had it back in a ponytail, and he had this like red bandana on, you know, around his head, and leather and chains, and he just was like a total biker dude, right? And I remember he came up to me, and he just stopped and he looked at me, and he was like, "You're gonna be able to do this." And I just like, this guy was so nice to me, and I was so scared of him at first, you know, and he ended up becoming such good friends. And I remember he gave me like, he had a card that had his name and stuff printed on it, and it was like just for recovery, because like on the front of it, it had like his name, and then it had his like number on the back of it, and then it had like the symbol, like the recovery symbol for that 12-step program, and then on the back it said call anytime. I met this girl in this meeting back then. She and I met like within the first 3 months that I got sober. I may have talked about this on here already, but anyway, she had just gotten sober too, but like 6 months before, 6 months after, and I would see her on the campus of IUPUI when I was in school later, you know, and I'd be like, hey, how are you, and whatever, because we would see each other at this meeting on Wednesday nights. When you're sober, okay, one of the things that's weird is, first of all, if you think about this, there are 400, I mean, there was probably, I don't know, 400 to 600 meetings in Indianapolis any given day. Something like that. Is it a day or is it a week? I wish I had my book with me, I would know. But, I mean, across all kinds of 12-step programs, I bet it's, I don't know, but there's a lot. There's tons of people that are sober here in Indianapolis. You run into people constantly. Constantly. I feel like Tanya and I tracked them. Like, whenever we're out, we constantly see people that are, and we're like, hey, how are you doing? Oh my God, it's so good to see you. And, you know, it's real fun. But, so anyway, I would see her like on college campuses and stuff like, or my college campus and stuff, but then I just stopped seeing her, you know? And one of us must have changed going to that meeting. I stopped going to that meeting after a while. And then, like, 2 or 3 years ago, I was sitting in a meeting in Noblesville, and it was like a noon meeting, and I just kept on looking at this girl. I was like, she looks so familiar to me. And I remember, like, one of the things that we had talked about was, like, her dad was sober and my mom was sober, and, like, we had talked about, like, that as family. And she was sharing something about her dad in the meeting. Her dad had passed or something like that, and I was like, because she had really curly blonde hair, and like really pretty blonde curly hair. And I mean, not that there's not, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't matter. But anyway, I was like, she looks so familiar to me. I know that girl somehow, woman. And so afterwards, when I spoke, she came up to me and she goes, did you used to go to this funeral home meeting? And I go, yeah, my first year sober, that was like, you know, 20-some years ago. She goes, oh my God. She was like, we used to like hang out and talk back then. Do you remember that? And we both went to IUPUI. I was like, oh my God. And we sat there and talked for a little bit. And the world is a crazy place, isn't it? You ever think about the fact that, like, God, I'm wanting to get emotional tonight. I don't know why. But that, like, people that you were friends with at one point in your life, like really good friends that were really important to you, that you saw every day, that, like, you'll probably never see them in your life again, you know? I have, like, old roommates of mine that, like, I can remember us saying, like, oh, you know, like, if we make it to 40 or 30 and, you know, we haven't found somebody yet, we're going to get married and just we'll, you know, be happy together for the rest of our lives and travel and stuff, that I haven't talked to literally in 20 years. You know, and I think to myself sometimes, like, maybe part of me always, like, living in the memories, and I want to create new memories, but maybe part of that is, like, because I don't think I'm ever going to see some of these people again, you know, like, I don't even know if some of these people are still alive. I think that's something I didn't really start thinking about and really realizing could be true until maybe the last couple of years. And I also don't think that a lot of people live conventional lives like our parents did. You know, like with my mom, like all of her college girlfriends would come and visit, you know, and high school friends would come and visit like in the summer. So it'd be like Susie for a week and Diane for a week and all these people, you know, different people, right? Diane for 3 weeks was more like it. She would come down from the island, but, you know, like Susie for 2 weeks, and it was fun. But I don't think people live such conventional lives like that anymore. Like, I think, you know, I have friends of mine that, like, my age, that have very unconventional lives. And, I was looking at this friend of mine on Facebook last night. Like, for some reason, he just popped into my head. We were like really good friends in high school, and he's like an installation artist now, and he lives across the country. And I was like looking at his Facebook stuff, and I was like, I mean, I haven't talked to him in forever, and I was like, this is like so weird, like this life that he lives. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like these people, like my friends that I was friends with in high school, like the majority of them all have like pretty out there lives. It's not like they would like pick up and come and visit for a week. You know what I mean? Like they just wouldn't do that. I can't even think of the last time that they did that. Well, my friends that are twins, other than the time that their dad passed away and they came home for the funeral, but you know, I just can't think of another time that they actually did other than that. They don't come home for Christmas. They don't come home for anything, you know? And I think that's kind of like, I mean, back in the day, everybody came home. If you could afford it, you came home for every holiday. You know, you drove 10 miles to go home. You know what I mean? People don't do that anymore. You know, I said to Fufu and Jesse, like, this is sad to me. I said to Fufu and Jesse when we were out there, I was like, are you guys coming home for Thanksgiving or Christmas? And they're like, no, we can't. And I was like, oh, why? And I was like, is it super expensive to come home during that time? And Fufu was like, no, we can afford it. He was like, it's not that. He was like, we just can't get the time off from work, you know, because he had started a new job this year. Jesse's been at the same one for like 2 years. He's like, we can't get the time off from work to come home. And I was like, you can't come home like maybe like Thanksgiving, because they really wanted to come home. And I said, you couldn't come home like Thanksgiving, you know, morning and then fly back out like, you know, on that Sunday. He was like, yeah, that would be the most expensive way to fly. And he goes, and that we couldn't do. So I understand, you know, that people can't. I love Thanksgiving. I didn't used to love Thanksgiving. I'm starting to love it more, not just because of the food. I just think it's such a homey holiday. And then I always go Black Friday shopping. This year I'm going Black Friday shopping, and my husband, he better, last year he didn't want to come with me, and this year I'm gonna be like, you're coming, you can sleep in the car. Because last year I went, remember, that's when I got all like the winter coats and stuff, and he was pissed that he didn't, that I got the winter coats? That can't be, because that was that winter one that I'm almost coming up on. I gotta lose my weight so I can fit into that damn coat. That coat was from last season at Abercrombie, that beautiful red plaid coat that's been hanging down in my rack all summer waiting to wear with the tags on it. It's beautiful, never been worn before. $300 coat that I got for like $2. Do you remember that? Or something like that, ridiculous. I got 2 coats, I have them both down there. The other one's like camouflage, it's great, I cannot wait. I got such a good deal on those. That was like a $200 or $300 coat, this red plaid coat that I got. I literally got it for like $2 or $3 or $10 or $4. I don't know, it was cheap. $14 or something, I don't know. It was so cheap compared to like what I thought it was gonna be. Did I say this was gonna be a short vlog tonight? I think I'm out of an hour already, but oh well. I do want to listen to a little bit of that book before I go home and go to bed, so. I'm excited for the next couple months. And then January, counting down to going to Florida. And then I gotta figure out if I'm gonna go to EDC in Las Vegas. I think I'm gonna go, I think what I'm gonna do is go to one day. And then I think I'm gonna go to Las Vegas and just hang out by the pool and gamble and do stuff like that. I think that would be fun. Because there's a lot of stuff that I want to do that Alex has absolutely no desire to do. Like go to the Zach Bagans, what do you call it? Museum. And there's some other things that I want to do there. Like not shows necessarily, but there's some things that I want to do while I'm out there. And so maybe I could do that and go out there. So I think we'll do that. All right, well, I am going to get off here now, and I'm gonna go listen to my audiobook. Here, you wanna, thought I had it all queued up. I was just gonna hold it up and show it to you, but it's not. Anyway, I'm gonna listen to The Chain. It is so good. And if you're looking for a great Halloween book and you like YA, you should definitely read Now Entering Adamsville by Francesca Zappia. And yeah, And I hope you guys are having an amazing, oh, it's Friday already. Friday, beginning to your weekend. I hope you're gonna make the most of it and have some fun Halloween fun this weekend. Let me know what you're doing in the comment section below this weekend. Are you going to a haunted house? Are you going to a hayride? Are you carving a pumpkin? What are you doing this weekend? Let me know. Put it in the comment section below. And I love you guys. So I hope you're having an amazing Friday. I hope you're having an amazing Friday unless you have other plans, but like I always say, do not have other plans. Make the most of it. This is not a dress rehearsal. Life is not a dress rehearsal. You're exchanging a day of your life for it, so do something that really matters to you today. And if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. I actually explained that in detail today on my Peterisms video, so why I say that and where that comes from and stuff, so you guys can go check that out. So if nobody else has told you this today, I love you. Make sure that you look at yourself in the mirror every single day and you say, I love you, you are important, and you are gonna have a fantastic day today. And believe it, you're gonna have the greatest day today. Good opportunities, good things. It's gonna be a fun day filled with laughter and excitement and fun. And, well, maybe not so much excitement, but laughter and fun, right? And good coffee. We can always rely on, where's my coffee? We can always rely on good coffee. Or Coke. Or water. And most importantly, make sure that you pass it on to somebody else and let them know that they are important to you and that they really make a difference in your life and that they mean something to you. So I also talk about that on my Peterisms video today too, if you want to hear an example of how I did that through that book, The Magic by Rhonda Byrne. So yeah. I talk about the ending of my vlog. That's basically the basis of some of my Peterisms videos. So you should go in there and you should check that out. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye. Love ya! Love ya! Love ya, love you, love ya! Love ya, love ya!